Hello everyone and welcome to Drive Steady. The SUV market has kind of been on a craze lately and manufacturers have gone all in on the SUV. Now me being the curious car enthusiast that I am, I started thinking to myself, which SUVs are the fastest? Now I typically don't associate speed with an SUV, but you're going to be shocked once I reveal the cars on this list and you'll see that most of these luxurious, even some full-size SUVs are faster than many sports cars out there. So in this video, we're gonna reveal the top 10 fastest SUVs in the world. Alright, before getting started, a big thank you to everybody who watches our videos and also subscribes to our channel. And if this is the first time you're stopping by, please consider subscribing so you can stay up to date with all of our content uploads. Okay, so let's get into this list here. And the first one is going to be the heavy hitter, the ultra luxurious, ultra performing Bentley Bentayga Speed. Now the Bentley comes with a 6-liter twin turbocharged W12 engine and it's mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission. The Bentayga has 626 horsepower, 664 foot-pounds of torque, gets 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds and has a top speed of 190 miles per hour, which makes it the world's fastest SUV, and the price comes in at $235,700. And here's the chart ranking the Bentley in each one of these categories, and you can see we're comparing 5 different categories here to show the correlation between them. The interesting thing about the Bentley here is that it's the slowest accelerating car, coming in last at 3.8 seconds, but it is the fastest on the top end at 190 miles per hour, and it is also the most expensive car on this list. 3.8 seconds 0 to 60 time, and it comes in last as far as acceleration. So can you imagine what some of these other SUVs are going to do here coming up? Alright, so the next SUV on this list is punching above its weight class because it comes in last as far as horsepower, and that is the Mercedes GL 63 S Coupe. Now the Mercedes comes with a 4-liter twin turbocharged V8 with a 9-speed double clutch automatic transmission. It has 503 horsepower, 516 foot-pounds of torque, 0 to 60 in 3.6 seconds, a top speed of 174 miles an hour, and a price of $85,995. Here are the rankings for the Mercedes. You can see it comes in 3rd place as far as 0 to 60 time, and this 3.6 second time is going to eye across multiple different cars, but nonetheless it just goes to show you that even though the Mercedes has the lowest amount of horsepower, it still ranks pretty high amongst acceleration time, and the added bonus is that it is the next to last least expensive car on this list, coming in at $85,000. Alright, now jumping over to the other side of the German manufacturer fence, looking at a BMW, and that is the X5M and the X6M. Now I'm going to combine these two cars together because they basically have the same horsepower, same torque, same performance numbers. So let's look at the X5M for this comparison. It has a 4.4-liter twin turbocharged V8 mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission. It has 617 horsepower. Can you believe it? Look at some of these numbers here. 600 horsepower in an SUV. Torque 553, 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds, a top speed of 177 miles per hour, and the X5M's price comes in at $114,100. Here are the rankings for the X5M. You can see that it's pretty much a middle of the road, somewhat below average as far as its statistics go. It doesn't really excel in any different category. It pretty much just comes in at the middle of the road, maybe a little bit below average as far as statistics go. But this is a pretty extreme list, and 3.7 seconds gets you in 3rd place from the bottom as far as acceleration goes. But it doesn't take anything away from the X5. Now let's go on to the next SUV on this list. All right, staying in Germany here, we're going to look at one of two other cars that are electrified on this list. And this one is the Porsche Cayenne Turbo SE Hybrid. So that's quite a mouthful. And I'm gonna look at the SUV and the coupe version in one category here. The engine statistics for the Cayenne, 4-liter twin turbocharged V8, 8-speed Tiptronic. I was interested here because Porsche is not putting the PDK in the Cayenne. Next is horsepower, 670 horsepower, 130 of those 670 is from the electric engine, 663 combined foot-pounds of torque, 96 of those are from the electric engine, 0 to 60 in 3.6 seconds, and the Cayenne is another one of those cars that ties with a 3.6 0 to 60 time, top speed of 183 miles per hour, and the price for the regular SUV is $161,900. Now here are the rankings for the Cayenne for each one of these categories. It pretty much comes in as a heavy hitter for the horsepower and torque figures due to the combination of the electric and the gasoline engines. Overall, pretty much average to above average in most of the categories. Now, the interesting thing I mentioned earlier about that 0 to 60 time, 3.6 seconds, I wonder how much faster that would have been if Porsche had put in the PDK in this Cayman. And this next car is a really interesting one because I had kind of totally forgotten about it, and it is the Alfa Romeo Stelvio Quadrifoglio. And it's interesting to me because it's the only car that has a V6 on this list. Speaking about that engine, it's a 2.9 liter twin turbocharged V6 mated to an 8-speed automatic. It has 505 horsepower, 443 foot-pounds of torque. Again, an impressive 3.6 seconds 0 to 60 time as it ties with several other SUVs. Top speed at 176 miles per hour. And the Stelvio is the cheapest car on this list. It comes in at $80,245. Here are the rankings for each one of the categories correlating to the Stelvio. A couple interesting things about the Stelvio are that it has the lowest amount of torque. It is the cheapest car on this list, but still gets 0 to 60 in 3.6 seconds. So it's good in the sense that it's cheap and it offers a good value as far as your acceleration times go. All right, now we go back to Germany for this next SUV, and it is the Audi RS Q8. And in my opinion, the Q8 is probably the most futuristic looking car on this list. It comes with a 4-liter twin turbocharged V8 with a 8-speed automatic transmission. Horsepower 591, torque 590. 0 to 60 comes in at 3.6 seconds, again tying it with several other SUVs. Top speed 189 miles per hour, and a price of $135,000, which is an estimate because there are no numbers announced yet for the Q8. So here are the rankings for the Q8 across all the different categories. Obviously, it's excelling in the top speed area with 189 mile per hour top speed, and the acceleration comes in at 3.6 seconds, again tying it with several other SUVs, making it no slouch. Remember, I was talking about these SUVs can seat 5 people. They're big, heavy cars, and they're getting 0 to 60 in 3.6 seconds. They're faster than some of the Corvettes out there, some of the Shelby GT350, and these SUVs are getting faster acceleration times than some sports cars out there. Now let's look at another car which a lot of people pretty much call the big brother of the Audi that we just talked about, and that is the Lamborghini Urus. And the Lamborghini Urus is an interesting car because many people don't know about this, but Lamborghini has made an SUV previously in its history, and that was the LM002. They actually made another one, the LM001, but it's Lamborghini's return to that SUV arena. And it's interesting because it was kind of a sales thing. They didn't really want to do it, but nonetheless, they actually made a really cool one. It looks similar to the Audi, but let's jump into the numbers. It has the same engine as the Audi does. It's just pumped up a little bit. It has that 4-liter twin turbocharged V8 with the 8-speed automatic. Horsepower is turned up to 641, torque 627. It has a 0 to 60 time of 3.6 seconds, but I'm going to caveat that a little bit as it's the claim number by Lamborghini, and basically everybody who's tested the Urus has said that It accelerates way faster than that. And the top speed comes in at 190 miles per hour. And I'm not really sure how Bentley is claiming that they're the fastest. I'm not sure, maybe this is 189.6 for the Urus, but the Bentley is 190, and the price comes in at an even $200,000. Here are the rankings in the categories for the Urus, and you can see that it is a heavy hitter. 4th in horsepower, 5th in torque, 3rd in acceleration, you can say tied for 1st or 2nd in the top speed category, and it is also expensive, $200,000. Some people would say that's chump change for this type of performance, but nonetheless, the performance, forget about the fact that this is an SUV. This is a Lamborghini, and it definitely performs like one. All right, the next car on the list is the first and only American car on here. It is the Jeep Grand Cherokee Trackhawk, and it has the same engine as most of the other Hellcat models in the Dodge lineup. It is the 6.2 liter supercharged V8 with the 8-speed automatic transmission. It has a blistering 707 horsepower, 645 foot-pounds of torque, 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds, and a top speed of 180 miles per hour with a price of $87,095. Here are the rankings for each one of the categories related to the Trackhawk. You can see that it is the 2nd most powerful. It has the 3rd most amount of torque. It is the 2nd fastest accelerating car on this list. And to put the cherry on top for the Trailhawk, it is the 8th cheapest car on this list. Now, American cars have always offered great value for performance, and it makes the Trackhawk an amazing performer. Look at these numbers, 3.5 seconds. It's the 2nd fastest accelerating SUV in the world, guys. It's an American car that costs $87,000. That's literally insane. All right, the next car on this list is that 2nd electrified car I talked about. Remember, the first one was the Cayenne Turbo S. And this one is the Tesla Model X P100D. This is an electric car on a list with a whole bunch of gasoline cars, and you're gonna be stunned here, okay? Of course, the Tesla doesn't have a gas-powered engine. It has a 100 kilowatt per hour battery, and it's mated to a 1-speed transmission. Now, the Tesla numbers are kind of weird because they're not really published as far as the horsepower and torque. So I took the numbers that I was able to find most frequently in my research, and I came up with a horsepower number of 762, torque figure of 730, 0 to 60 of 2.7 seconds, top speed of 163 miles per hour, and a price of $104,990. And here are the rankings for the Tesla Model X in each one of these categories. Comes in 1st for horsepower, 1st for torque, and 1st in acceleration, guys. This is an electric car basically kicking the butts of all the other gas-powered engines. And one thing that the electric cars have a weakness with is top speed, and you can see that the Tesla comes in last at 163 miles per hour. All right, so the last car on this list is another one I had totally forgotten about, like the Alfa Romeo Stelvio, and coincidentally, it's another car from Italy. It is the Maserati Trofeo. And the Trofeo has a 3.8 liter twin turbocharged V8 with an 8-speed automatic transmission. It has an impressive 590 horsepower, 538 foot-pounds of torque, 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds, a respectable top speed of 187 miles per hour, and a price of $169,980. Now here are the rankings for the Trofeo in each one of these categories. You can see that it's pretty much at the bottom of the list as far as performance goes, but I was surprised to see a top speed of 187 miles per hour, ranking it pretty much above average, 4th place here, and only a couple miles per hour away from the Bentley's 190. Now, Maseratis aren't really known for value here, and you can see that across all of their other cars. The Gran Turismo is an expensive car, but doesn't necessarily offer the best bang for your buck as far as performance go. And the Trofeo is kind of following that. All right, guys, so that is our list of the top 10 fastest SUVs in the world. So now let's tally everything up. Let's put them in charts and look at everything next to each other and see which one comes in the best for each category. All right, looking at the horsepower chart, the Tesla comes in with the most at 700 plus, and the GLC comes in last with 503. Torque, Tesla again 700 plus, and the Alfa Romeo 443. Acceleration, Tesla again 2.7 seconds, the fastest accelerating SUV in the world. And the Bentley coming in at 3.8 seconds. And then looking at top speed, Bentley 190 miles per hour, the fastest SUV on the planet. Strange, also slowest accelerating on this list. And then the Tesla comes in at 163 miles an hour. It's interesting because the Bentley and the Tesla switch first and last when you look at acceleration and top speed. And lastly, price. The Bentley is the most expensive car on this list, and the Alfa Romeo comes in as the cheapest at $80,245. All right guys, to close out the video, a couple trends I noticed while I was putting these lists together. Number one is that all of these SUVs have twin turbocharged or supercharged engine. They're all forced induction. No more naturally aspirated engines achieving good acceleration or top speed. Those days are over, guys, especially in these SUVs. The next one is that there is a strong correlation between top speed and how expensive the cars are. I think this makes a lot of sense because these are bigger cars. It's very difficult to make big cars go fast because that's when aerodynamics come into play. And the bigger the car is, the less slippery it is, the less aerodynamic it is. And you can see that because the Bentley and the Lamborghini are probably the fastest cars on the list with 190 mile per hour top speed, but they're also number 1 and 2 as far as price goes. And the last trend I noticed is that the electric cars are gonna take over, guys. The Tesla Model X P100D is the most powerful, it has the most torque, it is the fastest accelerating, and once they figure out that top speed weakness in electric cars, that's it, it's done. Gas-powered engines aren't going to even have a chance, especially with 0 to 60, considering that electric cars have torque from 0 RPM. And the reason why I bring this up is because I think in the future these performance numbers are going to be, I don't know, irrelevant or not as important as they are in today's performance metrics world, because it's going to be easy to get high horsepower. It's going to be easy to get fast accelerating times. It'll probably get easier to get good top speeds as well. But I think manufacturers are going to start struggling with building in the feel. Remember, you're losing naturally aspirated engines, you're losing manual transmissions. All of these things are going away, things that allow the driver's engagement in the experience. And the feel factor is kind of going to decrease, sad to say. So that's pretty much it as far as the trends I noticed while putting this list together. If you're interested in other spec-based comparison reviews like this one, please go ahead and check our channel page where you'll find many other videos along with other car reviews. And lastly, if you're interested in this t-shirt that I'm wearing, please check the link in the description below to the Drive Steady merchandise store where you can pick yourself up one of these t-shirts and help support our channel along the way. But that's pretty much the end of this video. Thank you for watching. Until next time, drive steady.